Okay, so we're back. We are back. Okay, so Andy, um, we just did kind of a play-by-play of that experience. We're to the aftermath now. Um, for most of us, we get the commentary in the description of your post, but I don't know if that's all of it. And walk us through, from you laying there saying, I can't, I'm in some pain, this hurts, to getting yourself down, back down from the mountain. Like how far deep are you into the back country? Are you able to get to some sort of an access trail, groomed or whatnot, to get down? Like what kind of an extraction was it?
Okay, so yeah, obviously they've lifted the sled off me, and I knew I was injured in some way. I knew I couldn't move my leg at all. I had a feeling my hip was dislocated, and I just remember thinking of a buddy that dislocated his hip when we were in soccer as kids, and in just the agony, I'm like, "There's no way I can be hurt that bad because it doesn't hurt." That being said, okay, let's get me down the hill. They kind of carry me down to the lake and try to stand me up, and that's whenever I put any pressure, any weight on the leg, that's when the pain became extreme.
Uh-huh.
And I was in shock, obviously, and I was feeling pretty nauseous and a little lightheaded. The thing that's when I'm like, okay, I'm in rough shape. They did a full assessment on everything. Like they checked everything, poked and prodded essentially to see if there's any signs of major trauma, and nothing hurt. So the assessment on the side of the hill didn't really show us what was truly wrong. I said, guys, just put me on my sled. I'm not feeling good. I need to sit down. So it was painful, but when I sat on my snowmobile, the pain went away. So I was like, oh, geez, so maybe I'm okay. Maybe there's just bad bruising. I'm like super naive and had no clue how serious it was. So everyone's kind of like, man, that was crazy. I can't believe that. I'm like, oh, boys, I'm fine. I'm just going to chill, have some water. You guys hit the jump. I'm good to go. Yeah, really dumb. And then my vision started kind of like closing in. Everything would started going dark, and it was like just like a pinhole of light. And I was really close to
What?
passing out. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, no, I need to go, guys. Call a helicopter. Like I know I'm hurt now. I've kind of had enough time to think about it and feel this stuff, and I know I've got serious injuries. I need a heli out here. I can't get out here on my own. We're in a zone that's probably 25 kilometers, maybe 15 miles or something away from the closest parking lot. We're in no cell service. Curtis had to ride up just a short ride to get into cell phone range. None of us had our sat phones, which is silly as well. We all have those things for whatever reason that day. None of us had them. Curtis, it's just a 5 minute ride up to the nearest point. He makes a phone call to search and rescue. And they said, how bad are his injuries? And we said, we're not really sure. We think his hip's dislocated. And they said, okay, that's fine. There's six other more serious calls in front of you. It's about a
Oh,
6 hour wait per call. We'll see you tomorrow. And the doctor, the search and rescue person on the other line was like, if he can get out on his own, just do that because you're gonna have to spend the night, and we don't know what's going on there. If he's able to get out on his own, we suggest you ride out. So
is
I
that
just came rip.
normal to have that many search and rescue,
No,
instances? Just
no.
bad
So
luck of the draw. Just bad luck on that day.
bad luck. And that was part of the whole weekend, right? We'd all been hungry for snow. There had been not good snow, not good light. It was St. Patrick's Day, which in Whistler is like a holiday. Like everyone's out. A lot of people are partying and drinking and doing things on their snowboards and stuff they shouldn't be doing. So the search and rescue and the hospitals were just overrun with calls that day. It was just terrible timing. Um, so that's when Curtis came back and told me, hey, like, if you can ride out, just get out of here. And I said, well, I'm sitting on my sled right now. I'm not in any pain. Like, I feel 100% fine. I know I'm hurt. Fine, let's just point me in the right direction. Let's start riding. So made the call right then and there just to do self extraction. Started riding across the lake, no pain. I think I had Brody Forchuk was with me and my buddy Derek Carson. They're the two that kind of stuck with me. Curtis was with me as well. There was other things that happened in the group. We had blown chain cases. Like there's other carnage going on. So those were the three guys that were there to help me and just said, "Okay, let's just get going. It's starting to get late in the day. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not doing well. It's time to go." So made that call. Was fine until there was one steep hill climb that I actually had to stand up and try to side hill on my own. And that's when I knew it was bad because I heard grinding and crunching in my hip, and then the pain became extreme. So I probably did more harm in that
Oh,
moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, it was like, I just had to do it though. So I'm standing on a broken hip with a dislocated leg, trying to side hill snowmobile. Wasn't great. So, anyways, I got down to the groomed trail, thankfully, and it had been just groomed right before I was on it. So it was like a highway for the most part. It was very
Oh, that's
smooth.
good.
That was a miracle, because that would have been way worse. I get to the trucks and I hear an ambulance. I'm like, oh, that's probably my ambulance. I'm going to rip down there on my sled. I get to the ambulance and they're like flagging me down. They're like, where's the patient? We're here to get him. I'm like, I'm the patient. They're like, no, 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 you're not the patient. I'm like, yeah, you need to get me in the hospital right now. And they were just blown away that I rode myself out. And then, yeah, then there was, kind of the next part of the journey into the surgery, into the hospital, and 3 months of not walking.
So 3 months, and is that pretty typical for a dislocated hip and broken pelvis?
Yeah, so the surgery is quite significant. I've got I don't know, it's probably like 8-inch long surgery mark kind of on my thigh towards my butt.
Uh-huh.
It's a very traumatic surgery. They got to pull a lot of your muscles apart. They grab the biggest nerve in your body and they like fish hook it. They pull it out of the way. So the surgery
That's
itself is
sketchy.
traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like there's major complications come from that surgery. They damage all those muscles. Like the hip and pelvis has been healed for months, but I'm still suffering from pain and discomfort and stiffness in all those muscles that they peeled apart to get into the pelvis.
Wow. So
Yeah,
3 months
and
goes by, lay low. Well, after 3 months, is it like physical therapy? I mean, I guess at what point did you feel like, did you ever think I'm not riding again?
well, of course, those moments come through your mind. I'm in a hospital for almost 10 days, and it's like, you're lonely and you're going through a variety of emotions. And of course, there's moments where like I might never, not necessarily not ride again, but I'll never ride at my previous level again, which is
Yes.
kind of like it was difficult at times. But I'm also really stubborn. I had great family support. I had great support in the hospital. It was 8 hours post surgery, and they're like, "Get out of your bed. Here's your walker. Get moving." And I'm thinking,
Get
like, "There's no
going,
way I
bud.
can do it." Yeah. So like they force you into physio right then and there. And in one day I was on crutches. In a week, I was hobbling around the house, moving freely with crutches, but
Uh-huh.
not putting any weight on that leg. So, I was very stationary for 3 months. If I had to go to the bathroom and go, I could. But yeah, there's a lot of emotions that go through someone's mind in those moments. There's some dark times in there, but I'm a very stubborn human being. And like I was in the hospital doing physio right away, doing all those leg exercises. I would not let that hold me back and had to prove it to myself that I could continue doing the sport I love.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so, as far as the time frame lines up, when was the next time you put a leg over a snowmobile?
It was late. It was what? We had a late start to the season. I'm going to say like end of November.
Yep.
End of November here. We had a late start to the season. The conditions were poor then too. We go up this mountain and it's like, hey, this is going to happen. I don't know if this is like if I can ride this or not because I didn't touch the snowmobile all summer. Like I almost needed to disconnect fully and I didn't even go to the garage. I didn't do
Wipe the
anything to it.
slate clean, boom, ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so like really the first time I whipped a leg over it's when I loaded it, but I didn't do anything before that. And then we get to the mountain and I'm like 1 minute up the trail and my thigh is killing me, my hips killing me, all these things. I'm like, oh shoot, like I might not be able to ride hard again. And it just took a little bit to work those muscles in and by the end of the day I was pain free, like shredding hard day one. So
Oh, sweet.
I'm thankful I had a great surgeon, a great team that took care of me, and like I said, I've been doing all the right things, doing all the physio, and the more I put in, the more I get out.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay. So how is your riding? How have you had to adjust your riding since the accident?
I
Like much
haven't.
at all, or
Not at all so far. I don't know, probably it's once again, we've only had a few days on the sleds this year. Right around Christmas holidays, just before, just after, somewhere in there, hit one of the jumps I've hit before. It's a pretty big jump. I went pretty hard. Was not in my mind. I just committed, sent it, landed hard, hit my knee into the sled, kind of sent a shockwave up the hip. I felt it. It wasn't pain. I knew there was hardware in there, but that was like the moment I'm like, okay, I could probably just do anything I want again. So
Yeah.
I kind of just let it go. Then it's done. It's a done deal. It's behind me.
That's great. That's great news.
I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, cool. So this happens. How long after it happened? Well, was it like the next day? Like when did the video get published, posted?
You know what? A couple days maybe after, I kind of like hung on to it a little bit. Well, it's like I said, it's kind of a dark time. It's emotional. The
Oh yeah.
surgery was long and extensive. Like, it wasn't. I was not a normal human being those first few days. I was in a lot of pain at that point. So it might have been like day three. Posted to Instagram, and obviously it started blowing up right away. And I knew I was just gonna keep going and keep going. Um, and obviously, I had so many people reach out to me with similar injuries from around the world, like professional athletes, professional skiers, all these wonderful people saying, "Hey, I recovered from the same injury. You can do it too." So it was amazing.
So I want to take just a couple minutes and I was trying to see the numbers on that video. Um, I'm sure you had so many. I don't like. How do you even respond to? I mean, there's still probably people left in your unreads like from that time.
Yeah,
Like
there is.
I can't even imagine. We get a lot of messages as just being a company, and sometimes they fall in the unread and you don't see them. We've
Yep,
never had anything like this happen, and so
yep.
I can't imagine how much outreach was sent your way, and what the response was back to that. But 7.5 million views on Instagram.
On my
Okay.
own personal Instagram. Yep.
Yes. And let me see. Do we This thing got shared, sent, right? We're at 185,000 sends. So whether
Yep.
they sent it to their stories, they sent it to their buddy, their writing group, 185,000 of those
Yeah.
viral. Like
Yep.
this thing took off. Um, Anything that's like super wild and crazy that came from like the social aspect of it.
For sure. Like I said, the people that just reached out that wanted to share their stories and help me, like I've been to kind of one of those cynical people, be like, oh, there's, humanity's screwed, all these things. I've never been one to be like, oh, I have so much faith in humanity, all these things. And I had so many people reach out to me that genuinely cared and wanted me to heal and feel good and help me. And that was honestly, that was a huge part of my recovery. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of time in the hospital for 10 days sitting there by yourself. Like, the family
You
comes
get
and goes, and I
antsy.
spend a lot of
Yeah.
time with them. You do. So I had a lot of time on social media to try and reply to comments and messages. So it restored some of my faith in humanity. That was amazing. But then I started getting the craziest follows from celebrities and people I never would have thought. People on Netflix shows and Amazon shows and like just bizarre people following me, commenting, sending me messages that like it literally went through Hollywood level of
Oh
actors,
wow.
which is just bizarre to me. Um, I could go on and on. Like the owner of Binance, which is like a huge Bitcoin like company that's worth $200 billion, sends me a message on there and follows me. It was just like, what? How did you? Why? But thank you. I appreciate you. But it just blew weird, very weird connections, and like I said, just people from Netflix TV series and stuff reaching out to me. It was crazy, totally crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, with
Yeah, and like
7.5 million views, you gotta you've some of those views gotta come from some of those, some of those types of people, right?
Well, and that's the thing. So, and I didn't put it on TikTok right away, which was a mistake for myself. I should have done it right away. I'm on TikTok and I get a message from some random account and it's like, "Hey, I posted your video and it's going viral. I don't worry, I tagged you in it." And he had like 16 million views on it at that point, and like his ended up with like 50 plus million views,
Oh
and
my
I didn't get
gosh.
anything from it. And then Barstool Sports has posted it multiple times. It went around the world. It went around many, many, many times. I had news agencies literally from like Finland, Sweden, Tokyo wanting to talk to me about the crash, which, I'm like, sure, yeah, let's share the story, trying to educate and help. And you know, it was a crazy time, but a lot of good people out there. So
Yeah.
You know, it was weird. I look back on it and I still can't believe it happened sometimes, but it wasn't all negative. There was a lot of positives that came from it.